Sounds good. Aki, so you could start off. Uh, Maybe we can kind of talk about the utility of Bitcoin. We could kind of get started there. Like, I think the big question is why Bitcoin and why is there like a group of maxis on Twitter that keep pushing Bitcoin onto us?
Yes, great question. And I think the big thing that, I mean, come from a, like I mentioned, distributed database background, software engineering. The biggest thing that surprised me when I came to Web3 is that there are so many different philosophies and different perspectives and kind of different predictions of how the future, will unfold. And people have different levels of rationality or rationalizations around it, and it's also obviously often very emotionally charged. And I imagine I really appreciate this session because we have a lot of people here, many who frankly have probably been in crypto longer than I have, and have a lot of perspectives from kind of what works, what doesn't work, what they're afraid of. But basically, Bitcoin, I mean, the way I look at it is there's kind of obviously a divide growing between, Bitcoin, the kind of OG token, the first one to, the biggest in terms of market cap today, but also slowest, doesn't have, smart contract abilities, just the kind of basic opcode stuff. And it's really hard to, like, when people say build on Bitcoin, it's not as straightforward as building kind of on Solidity or whatnot. So the expressiveness, the features, are not as much. But then again, on the safety side, it's safer. So it's just kind of two different worlds. And the way I think about it, rightly or wrongly, is it's kind of like, back whatever 20, 30 years ago, you had Unix, the operating system Unix, and you had Microsoft, the company. And so to some extent, it's like Bitcoin is like Unix, where most of the devices we use, Apple, Android, they all run on Linux, which runs on Unix. So you have this kind of underlying low level technology. I mean, how many Unix kind of, scripting kind of people do you like interact with? Probably not a lot, but those are the people maintaining this kind of low level infrastructure that just is obviously open source, etc. And then you have Microsoft, operating system, kind of in this analogy, where you have like one company, it's got venture people and people kind of backing it. And Ethereum is more than that because it's a set of communities, but it's a little bit more of that kind of targeted approach, with all and both approaches have the pros and cons. But the point is that they're different. And the people who are, and I'll speak to kind of Bitcoin maxis and the various shades of Bitcoin people in a moment too, because I think that's a really interesting question.